Hey there, cruise fans. Today we're taking a look at the suite life on board Celebrity Cruises and comparing the two classes of ships, the brand new Edge class as compared to the Solstice class. Stay tuned. My special guest today is Larry Jackson of Cruise Holidays of Viera, located in Melbourne, Florida. Larry and Lynda and their expert team of travel advisors have been meeting the needs of their clients in and around Florida and across the country for the last 25 plus years. Hi, Larry. Welcome back to RTE Travel Talk.
Ken, how are you?
Great to have you back with us, Larry. Larry, as you already know, at RTE Travel Talk, we're big fans of Celebrity Cruises. In fact, they're the line that I think we've cruised with the most over the years. One of the things over the years, we've managed to sail on pretty much all the classes, like Century Class, Millennium Class, Solstice. But the one that we haven't is the brand new class, the Edge. I was hoping today that we could spend a little time comparing the Solstice class, which is the newest class next Edge, to the Edge class for the benefit of our viewers and listeners. I'd like to kind of delve into that. I'd also like to talk a little bit about the suite life on board these ships and that concept that they have known as the retreat, which is basically ships within ships. And I understand it's kind of aimed at attracting the luxury cruise oriented guests. So how does all that sound?
That sounds great. Let's do it.
All right, great. So why don't we start off with just a quick overview of your current cruise? Where are you at the moment, and how long are you gone for?
We cruised out of Fort Lauderdale on Monday, January 29th, and today is Thursday, the 8th, and we're on our way back to Fort Lauderdale. So we've been at sea for 10 days. Our total cruise is 11 days. This is one of the most popular cruises from Florida. It's what we call a partial Panama Canal.
Okay.
So what we did was we cruised down from Florida, 2 days at sea, which, as you know, is my favorite destination. And because you get to enjoy the ship, you don't have itineraries, you don't have places to go or things to do. Then we went to Cartagena, Colombia, spent the day there, and then on to the Panama Canal, where we cruised through the new locks and into the Gatun Lake. The ship went into the lake, and we disembarked on our tenders and went to the Gatun Yacht Club, where we boarded buses to take us around to the other side of the lake. And we boarded a ferry and cruised 50 miles down the Panama Canal and then through the Miraflores locks out to the Pacific Ocean. And then took a bus back around to Cologne. The ship cruised back out of the new locks and waited for us in Kelowna. And then off we went to the ABC Islands, Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, and now we're on our way back to Florida. People like this cruise because they get a taste of the Panama Canal without having to fly from coast to coast. And I have to tell you, Ken, it's one of the most unique experiences to be able to go from the Atlantic to the Pacific, back to the Atlantic all in one day. Very few places in the world you can do that.
Yeah, I can imagine. You're on Celebrity Beyond, one of the new Edge class ships. Did I understand you correctly? The ship goes from one side to the other and then back again, or it only goes partially into the Panama?
Yeah, no, that's yeah, you're right, Ken. It's a part. That's why I call it partial transit. The ship itself goes into the lake, discharges the passengers who are going to do the excursions in the canal, and then she cruises back out the same lock that she went in. Now, this is the first time we've been through the new locks. We'd always transited the old locks before, so this is our fifth or sixth time going through the Panama Canal. It's always fascinating every time you do it, though, to see a ship of this size going up 86 feet is really something.
It must be a fairly tight squeeze.
Actually, the new canal is not so bad. The old canal, when the excursion we took, we transferred to a ferry, and they won't let you go through the canal with just a ferry. You have to wait for one of the large boats to come in behind you. And this boat was 100 feet long, and I don't think there was 2 inches on either side. So but they have these things called mules, which positions the ship and keeps it from hitting the side of the canal.
Right on.
Yeah, and what's amazing, Ken, is this thing is 114 years old. The steel doors that open and close, they don't leak. The concrete is still there. The mules still work. It's just incredible. The new canal, 7 years old, already sprung leaks. So just to tell you about what technology is today. So.
Yeah, it kind of goes to a big credit to the builders of yesteryear for sure.
Incredible what those guys did.
So, Larry, let's talk about these two classes of ships.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the Celebrity Beyond, which is the brand new Edge class ship and design.
Right.
And I'm sure, like ourselves, you've sailed a lot on the Solstice class ships, which I believe is the Celebrity Solstice, the Reflection. I can't think of the other names.
Equinox.
Right.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we're getting the Equinox at Port Canaveral in November, so we're excited.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, neat. Yeah.
We're having a Celebrity ship at Port Canaveral.
If I'm a first-time cruiser, how did these two classes stack up in terms of size and number of passengers?
Yeah, I think it's about 700 more passengers on the Beyond than on the Solstice class. If you're a first-time cruiser, you're probably not going to notice a big difference.
Really?
Okay. If you've been on Celebrity several times, the first thing you're going to notice is the balcony cabins. They're called the Edge Infinite Balcony, and literally the balcony is a part of your stateroom. It's at the end of your balcony is a partition that goes up and down electronically to open a screen, so it goes about halfway down. And then your chairs and everything are there. And then there's a glass door that separates that from your cabin. The balcony cabins that's a big difference because it is part of your stateroom. And a lot of people like that. Some people don't, but that's the new innovation. I guess the other thing is this ship there's no quarter acre of grass up on the 15th deck like we have on the Solstice class. So, and we don't have the tree hanging in the middle of the atrium like we do on the Solstice class. Two of my favorite things. And the library's not on 3 different levels like we have in the Solstice. The martini bar is not the ice with the glass sticks to
the ice bar, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It is now called the Grand Plaza. It's a 3-deck open bar. I guess everything's bigger and more open. That's the best way to put the Beyond. There's more specialty restaurants on board. There's a steakhouse called Fine Cut, a French restaurant called Le Bistro, a raw bar, sushi bar called Le Raw, and one that we went to the other night was called La Voyage, which is David Ballou, which is their executive chef's specialty restaurant. And I guess it's similar to Murano's on Solstice, but much better. One of the best specialty restaurants I've been to, La Voyage, and that's on the Beyond class. And I'm trying to think, there is a grill on board up on the deck, which is similar to the lawn club that we have on Solstice, but again, you don't have the lawn. And the solarium is probably about 2 to 3 solarium pool, about 2 to 3 times the size they are on the Solstice class. So those are the major differences, I think.
Right on. So if you're new to Celebrity cruises, you're probably not going to notice the difference.
Exactly.
If you're a veteran cruiser and new to the Edge class, sounds like you're going to notice quite a bit of difference.
Yes, you will. And you're going to notice the way it's laid out. And it's not bad laid out. It's just different laid out from what you're used to.
Yeah.
And then finally for the suite guests, the retreat is just really quite amazing also.
In terms of dining venues, I was looking over the fact sheet. There's quite a few more dining venues on board the new Edge class.
That's one huge difference. You have 4 dining rooms and you are assigned to them on a rotational basis. And you get a card when you get to, it's similar to what you do with Disney, except your staff doesn't go with you and and if you don't want to do that, then you can just check the whole thing and go to whatever restaurant you want to. But the way this works, Ken, is a little unique. Let's take one of the restaurants is Tuscan. Now those folks on the who are used to the Solstice class are going to think of the Tuscan Grill, which is a specialty Italian steakhouse.
Right.
Think of this as one of the main dining rooms. Think of the ship having 4 main dining rooms, one of which is the Tuscan.
Right.
On the menu, 1/3 of the menu will be dishes that are just for that restaurant. They're only prepared at the Tuscan. The other 2/3 are at each of the other 3 dining rooms. So you can choose any of those you want. And then you have the Cosmopolitan, which is more American, and then there's one that's more Caribbean. So that's basically the differences in the dining room.
So as opposed to like on the Solstice class, which had basically 1 main dining room, the Edge class has 4 smaller main dining rooms, all of which are complimentary. So we haven't even begun to talk about the specialty restaurants that are available in both classes as well, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And you mentioned the Grand Plaza as one of the public areas that's really stands out on the Edge class. Is there anything else that took your eye?
I guess the whole pool area, the walking track's really cool. It goes up on 2 decks and it's got a ramp that goes, so it's a little bit more, it's instead of just feeling like a rat in a cage, just walking around the same area over and over and over again, it's a little bit more interesting. And you know what? You kind of just have to see this to understand, because like there's a giant elephant sitting at the end of the pool.
Yeah.
You have to see the elephant to understand what they're talking about. So, but I think we have 61 guests on board with us, and I've had very good reviews from everyone I've talked to. They really like the ship a lot.
So the other thing I kind of wanted to shift over to, because a lot of people in this day and age, Larry, are looking for a more luxurious experience, is basically the suite life on board. We kind of touched on it earlier. Celebrity has this concept called the retreat. How does all of that work for the benefit of our viewers and listeners?
Yeah, I think, Ken, it might behoove us to regress a little bit about the evolution of the suites over the years. If we think back, just sticking with Celebrity, to the Millennium classes, we had suites on board. This is pretty much all that happened. You had a larger cabin with a larger bathroom. Your room steward had a few less cabins to take care of. And that was pretty much it as far as the suites were concerned. And then they started with the Solstice class. They added on a place called Michael's Club, so that the suite guests could go to that pretty much 24/7 down on deck 5 behind Murano's. And in there they could have cocktails, complimentary cocktails. There would be a dedicated bartender, maybe very small, maybe 10 or 12 tables. And that was a place they could go just for them. And they also had a very small restaurant that they had put in called Lumine. Now, because all of this happened after the ships were initially designed, it was kind of an add-on to put these little areas in there.
Right.
And then as we evolved, and they're very nice, and that was good. And that was the additional amenities you got with the suites. Then as we came along to the Edge class, which the Beyond is part of, they built a whole part of the ship, and they put, okay, this is the area for suite guests to be able to go to use the pool. Only they have a key card that only they can access. They took the Lumine restaurant and made it about 5 times as big. They took the little room, where you could go for cocktails, and made it about 3 times as big. And then they put the suites, most of the suites, on that level, so that you could walk right out of your suite to the dining room, up to the pool area. And those were all designed just for you. They also added a butler. Now, there's 2 stock classes of the suites. And one of the things I want to emphasize, if you're considering booking a suite, you need a travel advisor, because there are so many different nuances that go with the different suites. There are different amenities. It's very complicated. It's really hard to keep up with, even when you're on board. Yeah. So we have a set of suites called the Sky Suites that are not on that area with the retreat. Then we have the Icon Suites, some of which are 2 stories with their own lap pool, and they're all on the retreat level. But all the suite guests get to use the retreat amenities.
If you're going to that level of accommodation, it's really going to pay to talk to a real travel expert that knows the ship and knows the locations of these suites,
and what comes with them. It's going to be very important, because it's very, and Royal Caribbean does the same thing. Royal Caribbean has a 3 or 4 tier suite amenities that they do. Almost all the premium or the large market cruise lines have these areas.
I'm curious for our viewers and listeners. Celebrity originally started to call it ships within ships. So, like, for example, on the Edge there, Larry, if you're in a suite, and you mentioned that they have their own access to a pool area, is that pool area and that area just for suite guests?
Yeah,
it is. Okay.
Right.
So really, you could go on one of these Edge class ships, and similar to being in one of the smaller luxury ships like an Azamara or a Silver Sea. That's the type of market they're trying to attract. Am I right? Okay.
Right.
All right, now I want to ask my question about how do they compare to a Silver Sea or an Azamara?
I think if you were staying in the Icon Suites and everything was self-contained, you never left that area, then that would be more of like a Silver Sea or Region 7 Seas. Honestly, if you're not in that, you've got to walk through the whole ship to get to where you're going to go. The level of the staff level is not what you're going to have on Silver Sea. I mean, the ratios are not going to be there. The space ratios are not going to be that you have on a Silver Sea.
Right.
Honestly, the menu is not going to be what you're going to have on the luxury cruise lines. And as you know, just coming off Silver Sea yourself, the small ship feeling that you have with 600 passengers and no more is really kind of a unique experience.
Yes.
And you don't really get that with the suite. I mean, everybody in the retreat pretty much knows your name, but on Silver Sea, everybody on the ship knows your name after a third or fourth day. And so the menu, like in Lumine, maybe 4 or 5 entrees in the evening. Silver Sea, they have that one page that has 20 entrees on it on every single, every dinner. And that's not even counting what's special for that night. So those are the kinds of differences.
But you're also probably not paying the same Silver Sea premium.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I look and it's really not that much. So again, that's where the travel advisor comes in to really help you with looking at that.
Then again, I would think one of the reasons that perhaps a Silver Sea guest or a luxury, somebody that's used to the luxury would choose the suite life on Celebrity would be for if they wanted a particular cruise that had more amenities, more public areas. Celebrity has fantastic shows and entertainment.
Absolutely.
That sort of thing. You're not going to, on a small ship,
that's right,
300 to 600 guests. Yep. You're just not going to find that same level of Broadway production and entertainment on board those ships.
And also convenience of itineraries. For us out of Florida, we've got these guys pretty much year round coming and going to our ports, whereas Silver Sea's here for 4 or 5 weeks and Regent's here for 3 or 4 weeks and Azamara. And so you just got to catch these guys, and most of them are not round trips. So for the itinerary is another reason. And I think it makes great sense for a Silver Sea guest who wants to do something like the Partial Canal, because none of the luxury cruise lines do that. They all go through because they're on their way to someplace else. And our Florida-based ships are going to come back home. So if you want that type of itinerary, and again, that's going to be less expensive than a Silver Sea, full canal transit. So that's where I really think this comes into play.
And the other thing that probably to take into account too is you're grandma and grandpa, and you've got the affordability to go luxury, but you want to take the kids and the grandkids along with
you,
then that's certainly going to be a lot more affordable on a Celebrity cruise line as opposed to trying to pack them into a Silver Sea ship or basically any luxury line.
That's right, because you're going to be paying luxury prices for everybody, even though they're not going to enjoy the luxury. Absolutely. We have done this on Disney. We've had people get the Walt Disney Suite, and they can throw a cocktail party for 12 people up there. And, you get your butler to provide the drinks and hors d'oeuvres and things like that. You can have the whole family up to enjoy, and you can get the rest of them in the inside cabin. They can come stay and look at your balcony. So, I think it makes a great deal of sense if you're doing a family cruise for the grandparents to have the suite, and then everybody else congregate around.
Yeah. So we've ticked off a couple of advantages of booking a suite in the retreat. Is there any other advantages that come to mind, Larry?
Oh, that you have little things, little perks. I mean, embarkation, disembarkation, things like that. But you know what? Celebrity's gotten so good at those areas that you really don't notice. And there's little tweaks along the way. But
right on. Okay. Sounds great. In getting ready for this interview today, I was actually spent a lot of time poring over the fact sheets for the reflection and the beyond. One of the things that I noticed, and I was hoping you can kind of flesh it out a little bit for us, is Celebrity does this thing called classes in their staterooms. So you have Aqua Class and Concierge Class, and I was never clear exactly what that means. Okay. I was hoping that you could spend a little time and educate our viewers and listeners.
Yeah. First of all, you have your balcony cabin. Okay. Right. And that's usually on decks, 5, 6, and 7. Then you have concierge, and concierge basically, honestly, between you and me, I would not pay for concierge because the amenities you get are not worth it. The cabin location is a little bit better, a little higher, decks 9 and 8, 9, and 10, but the amenities are not worth the extra price. I would go right to the Aqua Class, and the big advantage with Aqua Class is a specialty restaurant called Blue, and my guests love it. I have several people who upgraded to Aqua Class, and they just love Blue, and we're booking next year's cruise, and every single one of them booked an Aqua Class cabin. You get a couple other things with the Aqua Class. They have an aromatherapy room on 2 decks in the spa on the Solstice Class ships, and you are enabled. You can go down and use that. You get priority spa appointments, and the spa is located at the end of the deck that you're on, so that you can just put on your bathrobe and go down to the spa. So it's very convenient. You don't have to track through the whole ship. The Aqua Class was designed for people who like spas. Blue Restaurant was initially intended to be like the real healthy food that spa addicts might like. It's
Right.
evolved over the years into just a really good specialty restaurant, which you're able to eat in for breakfast and dinner. It's a lot smaller than the main dining room. It changes menus every night and is very, very good. I think the Aqua class is a great class. I would not book the concierge, and it's a lot of time, and you have to watch. Again, a travel advisor comes into play. You have to watch on certain sailings. The difference between the balcony and the Aqua class can be very small, and sometimes it's very large. It depends on what's at booking.
Right.
So I have seen it as low as $300 or $400 per person differential between the balcony and the Aqua class, and that's a bargain.
And it's certainly worth it.
Absolutely. And
fantastic. The other thing, just before we wrap up, and we kind of skipped over it, you talked about the infinite verandas on board the Beyond and all of the Edge class ships. Is there regular veranda cabins on those ships as well? Or are you?
No. That's it. Well, the suites have verandas. The one you're kind of looking at over there is a regular veranda, but no, all of the Aqua, concierge, and balcony cabins are the Infinite Edge.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a fair difference between the two of them.
It is a fair difference. It is. You know, I've had pretty mixed reviews on the cabin. Some people love them. Some people hate them. Most everybody finds them fine.
Larry, something that's really important to, well, I guess almost all of us in this day and age is to stay connected to the hive mind, as I like to say. How do you find the internet on board these new ships?
Well, they've got something wonderful that Elon Musk invented for us, and it's close to our hearts because the satellites that he's launching called Starlink come from our home base at Cape Canaveral, and what we're recording on right now is called Starlink. It is every bit as good and fast as what we have at home cable modems. It also, if you buy the premium package, and this is something I discovered on this cruise, they have two packages. One's called streaming and one's called premium.
Right.
The premium allows you to do Wi-Fi calling, so you can set your iPhone up. We've been calling the office, clients have been calling us, and it's no charge. It's part of the package. You don't pay a per minute charge. So elite Captain's Club members get a great discount on these packages. So if you are worried about staying connected at sea, this new Starlink, and it's on Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, Regent just got it, Silver Sea is putting it on now. You're going to be able to keep up with just like you're at home. So I don't worry about staying connected anymore.
This interview that we're doing today, where do you think you are about right about now?
I'm about 400 miles from the coast of Florida and about 50 miles from Cuba.
Yeah, and we're on Starlink, so we're like probably 3,000 kilometers apart. And the bandwidth is like it's just been fantastic today through this entire interview. Fantastic.
If some of our listeners want to think back to 20 years ago when we had internet, we went down to the internet lab and we had to sign on and just and 2 or 3 minutes to get connected. All the time you're paying 60 cents a minute, and then the ship went under a cloud and it all went away and you had to start all over again.
Yeah. I certainly remember those bad old days. Well, Larry, this is absolutely super information. You've cleared up a lot of my nagging questions. It's been a couple of years since we've been on Celebrities. Looks like Deb and I are going to have to line up a cruise on board one of these Edge class ships to see for ourselves.
One thing I do want to say before we leave about Celebrity in general, I believe it is the best value at sea.
Really?
The level of service, the crew ratios, the friendliness of the cruise, the menus, the cleanliness, ambiance of the ships, for the price point that they're offering, I think it is very much the very best value, and almost no children, especially this time of year. So and I'm like you, I'm a real aficionado of Celebrity because I think it's a well-kept secret of how reasonable their pricing is compared to some other cruise lines.
Well, that's high praise. In the premium lines, they fit in there alongside of Holland America and Princess. And
that's right. But the product is far superior to those cruise lines. And
interesting.
And we're talking to passengers coming back all the time from all of those cruise lines. I mean, that's again what a travel advisor brings to the table, is we're getting the intelligence on what's going on. And we can't, you and I would love to be on every ship and on every sailing, but we can't. So we rely on that feedback from our clients. And that's very important to us.
Fantastic. Well, Larry, if folks wanted to reach out to you or contact your agency about a Celebrity cruise or another luxury cruise vacation, what's the best way to reach you?
Just cruisingviera.com, and right up in the right-hand corner corner, it says contact us. Just fill that out. We've probably got 4 or 5 since we've been on this cruise. Even though we're on board, just go to our webpage, hit the corner that says contact us, and then we'll get right back to you and get you the vacation you're looking for.
Super. Larry, I'll leave those links in the description, but just before we get out of here, I have to ask what's next on your travel list? Where are you and Lynda off to that next?
Well, we've decided to wait until August to take our next sailing, and we're going to be August 1st on Silver Sea, the Silver Muse in Alaska. She's got a little bit different itinerary this year, and a very reasonable pricing. And so we're looking forward to that. And then in September, we'll be going to Yellowstone with Tauck, which is you and I's favorite travel company, at least land-based.
Yeah.
And then in November, we're thinking about trying to go to Hawaii again. So we're working on all those.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. If you do the Hawaii cruise tour again, we'll have to have you back to regale us with all your adventures in Hawaii. Because all right, sound like a plan? All right. So with that, my friend, I'm just going to wish you and Lynda safe and happy cruising on all your future adventures and destinations. May the wind always be at your back, and I hope to see the two of you on a Lido deck sometime soon.
Thank you, Ken. We look forward to seeing you too.
Take care.
Bye.
And that about wraps it up for today, folks. A very special thanks to my guest, Larry Jackson of Cruise Holidays of Viera. If you'd like to reach Larry or one of his team, I will leave his contact information in the description. If you'd like to reach us with a question or a suggestion for a future video, simply send a question to questions@realtravelexperts.com, visit our website, realtravelexperts.com, or simply leave a comment. We always respond. And as always, folks, if you enjoyed this content, a like, subscribe, share, and a ring of the bell is certainly appreciated and helps us to spread the word. So until next time, happy travels.